Welcome to the Unit 1 project. This project will be covering all the material covered between chapters 1 and 6. Let's go ahead and jump into the project scope. This project will be dealing with the Henderson Avian Watchers Collective, or HAWC. This project will have a 3-page website, very basic structure. It will include video and audio resources, the information on domain and hosting for the potential client, and all the materials and text have been provided in the folder. First, do research. For this client, we're going to be doing a basic bit of research on the domain and the hosting company in a Word type document. When you do this research, for the domain, first find a domain company that is the registrar website. Find a possible domain that's available for this organization and the cost to register for 1 year. Additionally, you want to find a hosting company, find the name, the URL, the plan that is being used, and the cost for 1 year to use the hosting company. Now, before you do any of this, make sure when you're doing your research to not actually buy anything. You are not buying anything for this project. So if you find a domain and a hosting company, just do the research. Don't actually buy anything. When you are doing research for the hosting company, if you find any services like Drupal, WordPress, Joomla, or any other content management system, we don't need any of that fancy stuff for our research purposes. So when you're looking up hosting company plans, just go with the basics of the basic. We just need space for our files to live. The next part is getting organized. Inside of the student data files, you should have a folder called Unit 1 Project Resources. If you open up that folder, you see you have a lot of different pictures, audios, and text files along with the video in this folder. The first thing you should do is copy all of this into a folder called Last First Project 1. Use your actual first and last name. If you do not do this, I will hand this back to you until you have the proper naming structure. So, like I said, take all the material from the Unit 1 project resource and copy it into your project folder. This is the one that you'll be using to store your actual project in. Once you have all the files in there, make sure to organize them in the appropriate necessary folders. Once you're ready to start building the pages, I would like to point out that on every page, each should have the following: a level 1 heading at the top. It should be different for each page, and it should begin with the HTML number code for bird icon. This is a sample one that's showing up right now. Yours may look different based on your operating system and browser, but you should do the research to find what the necessary number code is to have a bird icon. If it's the whole bird or just the head, regardless, it will be accepted. You should have a navigation bar. This should be an unordered list, and each item should link to the necessary page, just like we've done in previous activities. You should have a footer with all material copyright HAWC period. Make sure to use the appropriate HTML special character symbol for the copyright symbol. The actual page content, and last but not least, phrase elements where appropriate, a unique title for each page, and the fave icon that is being provided. Every single page should have this, no matter the actual content. Let's talk about the actual content. Along with the files, you will also have text-based files that have all of the text that should be in the pages. It is up to you to determine what items should be headers, what items should be emphasized, strong, or any other necessary elements that need to be applied to this text. What you're seeing on the screen right now is the basic text that is being provided inside the text file. Again, it is up to you to stylize this based on the phrasing elements you want. With the home page, it should have a video at the bottom. The video should have all file types provided. It should also have a fallback just in case the videos can't be loaded. The video should be set to 426 by 240 pixels, and the controls for the video are visible. Next, for the gallery page. Again, this is the same text information you'll find in the text file for the gallery page. But a little thing that's different about the gallery page is that we're going to have more pictures. The pictures themselves should be below each associated section of text. All tags are required. The 3 recommended attributes are going to be looked for on the page, and the smaller version should link to the larger version. Easy as that, right? Always have the thumbnails or the smaller versions loaded on the page to be linked to the larger version. Last but not least, the resource page. Again, this is your basic resource text. Now, this is in 2 parts. This first part talks about the different audio portions that will be included, but additionally, we'll also have a nested list. It should look exactly like this. The first level should have the little black dots, second level should have the open dots, and the third level should have the black squares. There may be a modification in your book about the different styling of it, but this is the styling that should be done once you are done with your list. You don't need to worry about list style type. That's a little more advanced than what we're doing here, but once you start nesting your lists, this is how it should turn out. Additionally, each of these items should have their necessary links for them. This is a page that is the exact same chart on page 215 and tells you what the text should be and the associated URL that the text should go to once clicked on. Last but not least, when you have the audio players, you should have 2 audio players. The audio players should support all 3 formats of the audio being provided. It should also have a fallback just in case. And it should also have a forced download link below the audio player so that the item can be downloaded as well. Looking just like the example on the right. You have the content, you have the audio player, and then a download link. If your browser does not forcibly download the material, that is quite alright. I am just checking for the presence of the download attribute, making sure you know how to do that right. Best coding practices. First off, all code must validate. Please check against the validator as much as possible to make sure that you're putting in the correct code. All code must be properly indented to show the necessary element relationships. If you do use the line break and non-breaking space, these must be used properly. And the code must be developer friendly using the best practices discussed from Unit 1. A few tips as you go through this project. This may be overwhelming. Please take it one step at a time and don't overthink it. A lot of students get in this process of overthinking the concept and not really getting the answer that they're looking for instead of going on a tangent of different options. Don't overthink this. The answer could be much simpler than you think. This project is not meant to be done in one day. If you have 15 years of experience, you could do it in one day, but chances are you don't. So you are starting this off brand new, so it will probably take you 2 or maybe 3 days to do this, possibly even a week. It just depends on your learning level and how much you know. But don't expect to do this in one day. Take each step as it comes along, do your proper planning, and test your code frequently. Speaking of which, validate often. Make sure that your code goes through the validator, and if it finds an error, make sure that you take care of it. Otherwise, that error will keep following you until the very end, and then it may be too late to check it and fix it. Save and test often. As good developers, we save often, we test often, we make sure that what we're coding is actually what we want to see on the page. Test every link and media player in your browser. I recommend Chrome just to make sure that it loads, but you can test it in other browsers as well. Lastly, if you have the brackets extensions properly installed, please make use of them. The Beautify, the W3C validation, and the Alice spell checking. If you don't have them, then you can do the beautification, the validation, and spell checking yourselves, but I do recommend using the brackets extensions. For grading, each item that I mentioned in this presentation will be checked. It's literally quite a yes or no if it's there or not on each page and overall structure. Folder organization is critical. Don't dump everything into one folder and expect to pass. Make sure you have your folders properly organized and properly named, along with the file names of each file. Again, don't call your main page home or default or main page. Call it index. Make sure you're using the proper extensions .html or .html, and don't overthink this. If you're going to do something along those lines, make sure that the file names are appropriate to the page that's being loaded. Any misspelled words, punctuation, improper tags or formatting, and blank lines will receive a -1 point each. So even if you have a complete perfect score, but you're missing a period, that could mean a -1 point for that. So please double check your material, double check your content, make sure that everything is as it should be. And last but not least, if you submit with invalid files, that will result in a 10% reduction from your overall score. If only one page is invalid, that's 10%. If all 3 pages are invalid for some odd reason, that's -30%. So if for some reason your whole entire project is absolutely perfect, but all 3 pages are invalid, that means the maximum you can make is a 70% score. So please run your code through the validator, because I'm running the same code through the same validator. So any errors I get are errors you will get. Alrighty, if you have any questions regarding the Unit 1 project, please send me an email, hit me up on Twitter, or use your favorite method of communication to get in touch with me, and I'll get back to you the best way I know how. Please do not wait until Sunday night to contact me, because Sunday night is not the best day or time to get questions answered for a project. Again, this project's going to take longer than 1 day to do, especially for someone that's brand new, so please do not wait until Sunday night.